There's a story of an ordinary man who, in his humble beginnings, was ridiculed and looked down upon by society. His name was Marcus, a black barber in a small, quiet town. He didn't come from wealth, nor did he have a prestigious career. He wasn't a doctor, lawyer, or entrepreneur. He was simply someone who had a passion for cutting hair, providing for his family, and serving his community. But in a world where status often dictates respect, Marcus found himself on the receiving end of mockery. He was mocked not just for his profession, but also for the color of his skin. In a predominantly white town, he faced racial prejudice, and people often belittled his job as insignificant. His small barber shop, tucked away on the corner of the street, didn't seem like a place that could ever lead to great success. People would joke about his future, questioning how someone in his position could ever achieve anything more than what they already saw, a humble barber cutting hair in a cramped shop. For Marcus, every insult was a reminder of his place in society. But he never let it shake his spirit. He stood firm, day after day, perfecting his craft. The satisfaction he found in his work, the joy in making others look and feel their best, kept him going. He had a dream, a vision far beyond what the world saw in him. However, despite the hardships, he knew he had to make his barbershop more than just a place to earn a living. He wanted to build something that people would respect. But respect, he realized, didn't come easily for someone like him. The world didn't believe in his dream. As years passed, Marcus worked tirelessly in his barbershop. He didn't just cut hair. He listened to people, shared in their joys and sorrows, and became a pillar of his community. Slowly, his reputation grew. While he might have been mocked in the past, people began to recognize his exceptional skill and the kindness in his heart. It wasn't just about the way he styled hair. It was about how he made people feel when they left his shop. In time, his barbershop became a place where people felt welcome, a sanctuary from the stresses of their day. What started as a small business began to attract more attention, and people traveled from all over the area to experience his services. Despite the setbacks he had faced in the past, Marcus had never given up on his dream. It was his determination, his ability to persevere in the face of adversity, that made his shop different from the others. Marcus had always believed in the power of hard work and passion, and he knew that eventually his efforts would pay off. He wasn't looking for instant fame or fortune. He was committed to building something lasting, something that could uplift others as much as it had uplifted him. But he still had a long way to go, and the road ahead was far from easy. One day, while Marcus was meticulously working on a new client, a man walked into the shop. He was a businessman, well-dressed, and with a certain air of confidence that set him apart from the usual crowd. He asked for a haircut, and Marcus, ever the professional, immediately went to work. It was a busy afternoon, and Marcus didn't have much time for small talk, but something about the man caught his attention. There was something familiar in his eyes, a sense of curiosity that hinted at something more than just a regular customer. As the conversation flowed, the man shared little details about his life, mostly about the challenges he'd faced in his own career. He mentioned how he had built a fortune from the ground up, how he had come from nothing, and how he now owns several companies. His story was one of determination and resilience, much like Marcus's. Despite the differences in their paths, the two men connected over their shared commitment to hard work and the drive to make something of themselves. When the haircut was finished, the businessman stood up, shook Marcus's hand, and thanked him. "You've got something special here, Marcus," he said with a smile. "There's something about you, about your work ethic, your dedication, that stands out." The compliment felt good, but Marcus didn't think much of it at the time. After all, he had heard compliments before, but what happened next would change his life forever. Several days passed, and Marcus thought little of the man who had come into his shop. He went about his work, focusing on his customers and continuing to improve his craft. But then, one day, the businessman returned. This time, he wasn't just another customer. He introduced himself as David Ellis, a billionaire entrepreneur with interests in various industries, including real estate, technology, and investments. David had been keeping an eye on Marcus, and what he had seen had sparked something in him. He saw potential, not just in Marcus's business, but in the way Marcus carried himself, the way he interacted with others, and his unwavering dedication to his work. David sat down in the barber's chair once more, but this time, the conversation was different. He wasn't just talking about haircuts. He began asking Marcus about his life, his dreams, and his vision for the future. Marcus, somewhat taken aback by the shift in tone, answered openly. He spoke about his desire to expand his business, to open more shops, and to create a brand that represented more than just a place to get a haircut. It was about community, empowerment, and offering opportunities to others. David listened intently, nodding thoughtfully. When Marcus finished speaking, David leaned back in the chair and said, "I think you're exactly what this world needs more of. You've got the heart, the drive, and the vision to turn this into something much bigger than just a barbershop. How would you like to partner with me and take your business to the next level?" Marcus was stunned. He had never imagined that his passion for cutting hair would lead to an opportunity like this. He had always dreamed of expanding, but to think that a billionaire was offering to help him make that dream a reality was almost too much to comprehend. He had faced so much ridicule over the years, had worked so hard just to stay afloat, and now here was someone who not only believed in him, but wanted to help him grow. David went on to explain that he had a keen interest in supporting small businesses and that he saw potential in Marcus's vision for the future. Together, we could build something that goes beyond just a barbershop, David said. We could create a network of businesses that empowers people, provides jobs, and strengthens communities. And you, Marcus, would be at the heart of it all. It wasn't just a business opportunity. It was a chance to change the trajectory of Marcus's life and the lives of those around him. David's words were like a spark, igniting a fire in Marcus that he hadn't felt in years. He had always known he was meant for something greater, but now he had the opportunity to prove it. Marcus stood in disbelief as David's offer sank in. He had come from a place of struggle, a place where his hard work and talent were often overlooked or ridiculed. And now, standing before him was a man who believed in him, who was willing to invest in his future. The decision wasn't an easy one. Marcus had always worked alone. The thought of partnering with someone, especially someone as powerful as David, made him uneasy. There were risks, uncertainties, and the fear of losing control over his own vision. But the more Marcus thought about it, the more he realized that this was his chance to elevate not just his own life, but to build something that could help others. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about creating opportunities for people who had been overlooked just like he had been. After several days of careful consideration, Marcus made the decision. He agreed to the partnership with David. They began laying out plans to expand the barbershop, not only opening new locations, but also incorporating a training program for young barbers, giving them the tools they needed to build their own careers. The idea wasn't just to grow the business, but to create a network of empowered individuals who could uplift one another. David introduced Marcus to his team of experts, people who could help with the business side of things, marketing, and even developing a brand. With their support, Marcus quickly learned about the intricacies of running a successful business beyond the confines of a single shop. He was no longer just a barber. He was a businessman with a vision, someone who was actively shaping the future. The expansion was nothing short of extraordinary. Marcus's barbershop turned into a popular franchise, with dozens of locations opening in cities across the country. The training program was a massive success, and it provided a pathway for many young people from underserved communities to learn the trade and build careers that would have been out of reach without the opportunity Marcus's vision had created. But with success came challenges. As the business grew, so did the responsibilities. There were negotiations, financial decisions, and complex contracts to navigate. But with David's guidance and Marcus's relentless work ethic, they managed to overcome every obstacle. Marcus stayed true to his roots, always ensuring that his barbershops remained places of community, where the staff felt valued and the customers were treated with respect. Through all the challenges, Marcus never lost sight of what had brought him to this point: his passion for his craft, his dedication to his community, and his belief that everyone deserves a chance to succeed. The journey had been long and filled with hardships, but Marcus's perseverance and faith in himself had paid off. He had gone from being mocked for his job to becoming a role model for countless people who now saw him as a symbol of what's possible with hard work and belief in one's dreams. Years passed, and Marcus's journey reached new heights. His name became synonymous with success, not just in the barbershop industry, but also in the world of entrepreneurship. He was featured in magazines, invited to speak at conferences, and admired for his remarkable rise from humble beginnings to being a pioneer in his field. But despite all the accolades and recognition, Marcus remained grounded. One of the most significant moments in his life came when he was invited to speak at a charity event for young entrepreneurs. As he took the stage, he looked out into the crowd and saw the faces of young people from all walks of life, many of whom were struggling just like he had once been. He could feel their uncertainty, their desire for something more. In that moment, Marcus knew that his success was not just about personal achievement. It was about giving back, providing hope to those who needed it most. "I've been where you are," Marcus began, his voice strong but filled with empathy. "I know what it's like to be doubted, to be ridiculed for doing something people don't understand. But I also know what it's like to push through those barriers, to turn rejection into motivation, and to make a difference, not just in your own life, but in the lives of others." His words resonated deeply with the audience. He wasn't just sharing a success story. He was offering them a roadmap, showing them that success wasn't reserved for the fortunate few. It was something anyone could achieve if they had the courage to take the first step. Marcus had not only built a thriving business, but he had also created a legacy. The barbershops became symbols of empowerment, teaching the next generation of barbers and entrepreneurs the value of hard work, community, and resilience. His training program expanded to include mentorship initiatives that paired aspiring barbers with experienced professionals. Marcus's influence went beyond his business. He was now a leader in a movement that was changing the lives of thousands. Through his own experience, Marcus had learned that success isn't just about financial gain. It's about the impact you have on the world and the lives you touch along the way. As his business continued to thrive, he invested in scholarships, built programs for inner-city youth, and supported initiatives that aimed to uplift communities. His mission was clear. Success without purpose was hollow, but success with a heart for others could change the world. Years later, Marcus found himself back at the same barbershop where it all started. The walls had changed, the tools had evolved, but the spirit of the shop remained the same. He looked around at the new generation of barbers working there, young men and women who had once been in his shoes, unsure of their future, but now confident in their potential. And it was in that moment that Marcus realized the true meaning of success. It wasn't about the money, the fame, or the recognition. It was about seeing the faces of those whose lives he had touched and knowing that he had played a part in their journey. David, who had stood by Marcus from the very beginning, had watched in awe as Marcus's vision grew beyond what anyone could have imagined. He had invested in a man with a dream, and together they had built something that was more than just a business. It was a movement, a testament to the power of believing in people, even when the world doubted them. Marcus's story had come full circle. From being mocked for his job to becoming a leader in his community, he had proven that anything was possible with determination, faith, and the willingness to seize opportunities. And as he stood in that barber shop, surrounded by the people who had once believed in him, he realized that this was only the beginning.